Hello everyone, welcome back to my basics series. This is episode 2 and we're going to go over gel polish application. If you haven't seen episode 1, go ahead and check that out first and it'll just show you all the prep steps that I have done to get to this point in application. You want to make sure that your nails are all prepped. Before we get on to the actual application, I'm going to go over some things about the lamp. So if you've watched any videos about gel polish application, then you've probably heard people mention curing in a UV light, curing in an LED light. These are all terms that are talking about drying the gel polish. So you need a UV or LED lamp to dry your gel polish. You cannot do gel polish nails without a lamp. There are two main types of UV lamp. There's the CCFL lamp, which is like a regular light bulb, and then there is the UV LED, which has the LED light. LED lamps generally cure quicker, so you're looking at a 30 to 60 second cure, whereas the CCFL normal bulb lamps are more like 1 to 2 minutes for a cure time. The lamp that you're able to use depends on your gel polish. Some gel products will not cure under an LED light, so you need to figure out what your manufacturer states as the correct light for curing your gel polish. There is also more science behind it. Every UV light has a different wavelength and every gel product sets with a different wavelength of light, so it's not a one size fits all when it comes to lamps. You do need to make sure that your gel polish and your lamp are compatible, and that is why they recommend that you get the lamp recommended or sold by your gel polish brand. Hand positioning is also really important. If you have any shadows on your nails, then that shadowy part will not cure correctly. This can often happen on the thumb, so if you cannot get your hand positioning correct when you put your whole hand in, you can do the thumb separately and cure that by itself. Let's get on to application. So we've already prepped and cleansed our nails with isopropyl alcohol, and now we're going in with the base coat. So I'm making sure to wipe off as much of the product as I can. I want my brush to have very little product on, because if you have too much product on, it will go all over your hand. So I'm starting in the center of the nail, and I'm actually putting more excess product onto my next nail before I go back and perfect the edges. So you want to get as close to the cuticle as possible without touching the cuticle. I would recommend, if you're doing this for the first time or you're not confident in your application, that you go a little bit further away from the cuticle and the sidewall, and then you can build up to eventually closing that gap and making it as small as possible. You're better to have a larger gap between your color and your skin, and that way your gel polish will last longer. If your gel polish touches the skin or connects to the skin at all, it will start to lift and chip and peel fast. You also want to make sure that you cap the free edge, so you're just wiping your brush along the edge of the nail. Making sure to cap the free edge of your nail will help to prevent chipping. Gel bases differ from brand to brand. The one that I'm using is quite thin, and you're supposed to scrub it into the nail so that it really grabs onto the texture that we created when we buffed our nails in the previous video. Where you place your base coat is where your polish is going to go. If you apply your base coat poorly, then the rest of your application is not going to go well. So I do recommend taking your time and really trying to get as close to the cuticle and the sidewalls as you can without touching. If you do go over the edge and touch your skin, make sure that you wipe that off as soon as you can. Any uncured product that touches your skin opens you up to dermatitis, contact dermatitis, and you can create an allergy, and if you end up being allergic to gel polish, then you can't do your nails anymore, and that would be sad. So please avoid getting any gel polish on your skin. Obviously it's not possible to avoid that completely, and I myself get gel polish on my skin, but you want to avoid it as much as possible, and if you do get any gel polish on the skin, you remove it as quickly as you can. Once you are happy with your base coat application, you're going to go ahead and cure that in your UV light. I'm curing for 30 seconds, but that's going to depend on your light and your gel polish brand. Please follow your manufacturer's specifications for cure times. When you take your nails out of the lamp after curing the base coat, you will find that the nails are still sticky. Do not panic, this is supposed to be like this. The top layer of gel that is exposed to air never dries and leaves a tacky layer, which your next coat of gel will stick to. So we're going on to our first color coat, and again I'm wiping off a lot of the product so that I do not have much gel on my brush. The key with gel is doing thin layers so that the gel can cure completely through. If you do thick layers, the gel will not cure properly and could bubble up. undercured gel will not last as long as fully cured gel. So I'm repeating the same steps that I did with the base coat, and I'm applying the gel to the nail and gently rocking my brush to get closer to the cuticle. Please keep in mind that I'm doing this hand with my non-dominant hand, so it is not as good as my regular right hand. For that reason, I'm leaving a slightly larger gap than I would if I was doing this with my right hand. The more you practice, the smaller you can make the gap between the polish and your cuticle. You can see that my polish is not fully opaque, but that is okay because we will do more layers of color. You want to do thin layers so that they can cure completely through, especially if you're using a dark color. Darker colors tend to have more pigment and can be more difficult to get a full cure. I'm working slowly because gel does not dry until you put it into your UV lamp. You have as much time as you want to work with the product and get your application as neat as possible. Remember to cap the free edge on all layers of polish. You're just using a brush to wipe along the edge of the nail. Once you've applied color to all of your nails, go back and check each nail and make sure that your polish has not moved, and then you can go ahead and cure it in the light. The reason you want to check your polish before you set it is that while it's still wet, you are able to correct anywhere that it may have flooded into the sidewalls or the cuticle. After you have set it in the light, it is much more difficult to clean up the polish. After your first coat has finished in the lamp and is cured, it will still be tacky, and so we're now going to go in with our second coat of colour. It's pretty much the same as the method for applying the first coat of colour. You want to do a nice thin layer, working slowly, getting as close to the cuticle as possible. This time you're kind of just following the lines that you had already set down in the first coat. You're just making the nail more opaque. Remember again to always cap the free edge with each layer. Once you are happy with the polish application on all of your nails, make sure to go back and check that the polish hasn't moved on the other nails, and then you can go ahead and cure them. If your colour is not opaque after 2 coats, you can go ahead and apply a third coat using the exact same steps, keeping the layer nice and thin. But my polish is opaque after 2 coats, so I'm just going to start and apply my top coat. There are 3 main types of gel top coat. You have your regular tacky top coat. That is a top coat that will cure and have a tacky finish, and you will then need to wipe that with isopropyl alcohol. There is the no wipe top coat, which will cure and, as the name suggests, not need a wipe with isopropyl alcohol. It will just be completely cured. There will be no tacky layer, and it will be shiny. There is also matte gel top coat. Now, matte gel top coat can come both ways as well. There are some that will cure, have a tacky layer, and you will need to wipe it off, but most will cure to a matte finish and no need to wipe. I am using a no wipe top coat today. You apply that just exactly the same as you applied all the other layers of gel, nice and thin, but making sure that you get full coverage over the entire nail and cap the free edge. You do want to be careful with the clear products like the base coat and the top coat because they are clear. You may not notice if they have gone outside the lines. If they are on your skin, you may not notice, so please make sure to double check that your top coat has not gone over the edge of your colour and is not touching your skin. Once you've applied the top coat to all your nails, you go ahead and cure it in the lamp. Once your top coat is cured, your nails are finished. If you were using a tacky top coat, then you would need to use isopropyl alcohol to wipe your nails. As I said, I was using a no wipe top coat. Just there you can see where the polish has stained my nail. Unfortunately, as I was applying the gel colour, I did touch my skin, although I cleaned it off because this is such a dark colour, it did clean my skin. Don't worry about that too much, it will come off as you wash your hands. Last thing to do is to apply some cuticle oil. Unfortunately, I didn't have any cuticle oil with me, so I'm just using some hand cream and I'm just going to rub that into my fingertips. It's going to give them some much needed moisture after all of the prep that we did. Using isopropyl alcohol can dry out your skin, and we want to moisturize those cuticles so they'll be nice and healthy. Also, you should be moisturizing your hands and fingers regularly to make your nails grow nice and long and healthy. So that's the end of this video. I hope you learned something from my application method. If you've got any questions about anything that I mentioned in the video, please don't hesitate to ask down below. If you want to see how I did the nails on my other hand, I will link those in the cards. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and help me get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I think the next episode in the basic series will be glitter application, so keep an eye out for that. It should be out next week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.